Hey there, so you're thinking about starting a website and you may have heard of Bluehost and or WordPress. And if you're here because you're wondering, is that right for you? We're going to walk through not only what is Bluehost and kind of what is WordPress, but we're also going to figure out what Bluehost plan is going to be best for you. And lastly, we're going to actually set up a WordPress site on Bluehost in less than 20 minutes. Let's get started.
All right, let's get 20 minutes on the clock. So this tutorial, I'm going to take you through how to set up your WordPress website on Bluehost. But not only that, I want to help you understand what plan is best for you and also understand what we're actually doing. So we're going to move quickly, but I'm also going to touch on a few things that I think are important for you to understand. So you might ask, what plan is best for me? Well, let's take a look at this, and I'm not going to spend a ton of time because I've actually written an entire post that breaks down everything that you see on the screen right now and explains exactly what's going on with each of them. But what I'm going to do here, since we only got about 20 minutes, is I'm going to make this recommendation. So if you are trying to set up a single website where you just want one domain name, one website, you're going with basic. If you want to have multiple websites where you have two or more domain names that are completely unrelated to each other, and you want to have two completely separate WordPress websites, I'd go with the Choice Plus plan. Now, technically on the basic plan, you could actually set up more than one website. It's just got to be part of the same root domain. Again, I've got an entire post written on this, so check that out in the description if you want to learn more before you select your plan. But I'm going to go ahead and go with basic. So we'll go with basic, and what I'm going to call this is Bluehost, or not Bluehost, but WordPress in 20 minutes. You can see I've already searched this to make sure it's available. The one thing I will say while we're on this page, I would not click this button down here where it says I'll create my domain name later. I tried this before, and it actually creates a little bit of confusion based on how Bluehost manages your primary domain and stuff. So when you register this domain, this is going to be what's called your primary domain. I also have a post, I actually have a YouTube video and a post specifically on this topic that you can watch later to understand this better. But anyways, we're going to click next. This is going to be our domain name. It's going to be our primary. And let's go ahead and start filling out all of our information here. And of course, I'm going to blur a lot of this out. So one thing that I'll have you notice, again, this is mentioned in the post that I go into depth with, but by default, this is the 36-month price that you're seeing with the promo pricing. I don't want this, so I just want 12 months here because I'm not exactly sure how long I'm going to use this domain. So that's going to cost me $59.40 rather than if I use the 36-month term, which is actually a little bit cheaper per month. We'll go with the basic plan here for 12 months though. And we're also going to add domain privacy and protection. I don't want CodeGuard Basic. That's just backups for your site. And I don't necessarily want SiteLock Security Essential. So I'm just going to grab the domain privacy and protection, which is going to basically prevent a bunch of random email addresses that are going to ask me if I need help setting up my website after they find that this email that I put in is what's associated with this domain. Go ahead and create our account. And we're going to sign into the dashboard with our login. Once the site loads and you start the onboarding, you can go ahead and fill this out a little bit, but if you want to see exactly what I'm seeing, I would recommend clicking exactly what I'm clicking here. So we don't need any help. What kind of site are we creating? What type? Who are we creating it for? I'm going to skip this step. What would you like to add to your site? I'm going to just say a blog for now. That's and maybe an about me. I think what this is essentially going to do is create some WordPress pages for us. So we'll continue, and we're going to name our site, I keep forgetting this, WordPress in 20 minutes, and set up your WordPress site in 20 minutes. And I'm going to say that I am we'll go very comfortable creating websites for now. So it's going to ask you what theme that you want, and while I recommend the Avada theme, you can do this later after we've set this up. So I wouldn't worry about that yet. I would just grab a very generic theme for now. So we'll just go with this one looks good. We'll use this theme, and it's free. Again, you can change the theme later on, no problem whatsoever. But the first thing that you're going to want to do is confirm your domain name. So right now you see this temporary domain name up here. We don't, this is just Bluehost, something that Bluehost does for you. You don't have to worry about it at all. But we need to confirm our domain name. If you plop over to the domain section, you'll see that we have this registered as our primary, but it is not verified. So the reason you have to basically confirm this is because of this nonprofit organization called ICANN, the Internet Corporation for Assigned Names and Numbers. And what they do is they manage a big database of all the domain names that have been registered on the internet and who owns them. So you can come to various tools, this just happens to be one of them, where I can type in things like WordPress in 20 minutes.com, and we can actually see who owns this. And you can see that if we go down here, the administrative contact, technical contact, all of this is some generic Bluehost stuff, and that is because we registered for domain name privacy. If we did not pay for domain privacy, this would be my personal information. So anyways, they want you to confirm your domain name. You can do that through your email. So you're going to get an email just like this. Click verify your email, and you have successfully verified your WHOIS contact information. The next thing that I want to do is take you through a very brief tour of the Bluehost dashboard. So you saw what we land on at home. This is kind of your landing page. Then if you go to My Sites, this is where you can actually manage your WordPress sites. So if you were to click Add Site, we can say second WordPress site and some tagline and click Next. And then we could just put this at a different directory. So we could say second site and click Next. So don't worry about what's going on here. I just want to show you what you're able to do. And remember, I'm on the basic plan here. So even on the basic plan, you can create multiple websites. Now we can go back to My Sites and see that we now have 2 WordPress websites, but this one right here is going to be hosted at a slightly different URL than this one here. This is my main primary site, and I will maybe have time to show you a little bit more about this, but for now we have to keep moving. So let's go to Marketplace. This is where you're going to add additions to your Bluehosting service. So let's say that I initially did not add CodeGuard, which is a backup plan for your website. You have lots of options here. You can even do it with a WordPress plugin like Updraft Plus. But say that I wanted to come back and purchase this, I could do it here in the Marketplace. Email and Office, you'll see that they advertise Microsoft 365 or G Suite. You can pay for this, or you can actually get a free domain or free email address with each domain that you register. Bluehost just doesn't advertise that because, of course, they want to sell this product. So if you go, we've already seen what it looks like to go to the domains. You can actually manage all your domains and even add subdomains or things like that. But back to this subject of the email, if you wanted to create an email for your website, you would go to the Advanced tab, which is basically where all of the things that you're going to do that's beyond the basic operations are going to happen. So for example, you can actually add or delete files from your Bluehost computer with the file manager, or you can set up FTP, which is file transfer protocol, so that you can transfer, plugins or themes from your personal computer up to your server. Not going to get into that in this video. You can also manage the database that stores all of the data behind your WordPress website using PHP MyAdmin. So basically this is like the advanced, as says right here, it's the advanced tab where you can do a lot of things beyond the basic operations that comes with Bluehost. And one of those things is email accounts. So click on email accounts, click create, and we can create an email account called zach@wordpressin20minutes.com, enter a password, and with the click of a few buttons, we have an email address that we can actually use to send and receive email. Now, I'm not going to go into how to set this up with Gmail or Outlook for the web in this video, but I have a separate video that shows you how to do that, and I'll link to that in the description. For now, if you want to check it, you can just click check email, and it's going to take you to Roundcube, which is the default open source email client, where you can open it and see the inbox. So that's just a cool thing, something that they don't necessarily advertise, but is important to know. All right, so we have covered all the tabs here. I think that this is sufficient, and now we can go back to My Sites and start customizing the website or the WordPress website that we have created. I think we have about 10 minutes left in this 20-minute tutorial, and in those 10 minutes, let's get our site set up. So earlier I created this second site, and so I'm going to take this as a quick opportunity to kind of show you how Bluehost is working behind the scenes. So if we were to go to Advanced, from this Advanced tab, we can actually see the files that are sitting on the Bluehost computer that is hosting our site. And if you go to the cPanel File Manager, you can see exactly what is sitting on our site. So if we open up public HTML, this is where our WordPress site lives. And you'll see that we have this second site folder, which if we open it up, is going to look very similar. See, we have public HTML, WP admin, content includes, and then under the second site, we have the same thing. Well, that's because the second site is just another copy of a WordPress site. So if we go back to our sites page, let's delete that second site because we don't really need it. So we'll press delete site, and what this is going to do is actually delete that folder from the Bluehost computer that is hosting our WordPress site. So we'll go back to the file manager, we'll refresh, and now if we open public HTML, we're going to see a second site, but there's nothing in it anymore. And so we can actually pretty safely just go in, and if we wanted to, we could just delete this completely. So the second site would essentially be deleted completely. And I don't recommend coming into the file manager and starting to edit things because you will get something screwed up. But if you just reload this, like, we don't have that site anymore in our dashboard, and we don't have the files, the WordPress files, on our server anymore. If you want to learn a little bit more about that, I made a video that explains this file system and how this works with domains. So if you want to learn a little bit more about, what are all these files and how do they interact with the domains that we have in our Bluehost dashboard, be sure to check that out after you finish watching this video. It'll be a very good introduction to Bluehost WordPress site management. But we're not going to do that in this video. Let's get into actually building out this WordPress site. To actually get to your WordPress site and start managing it, you have a couple options. First, we could click Login. So you'll see that this right here is WordPress. We have left Bluehost completely. So previously we were on the Bluehost web app. Now we are on the WordPress site that Bluehost is hosting for us. So this is completely different. Think of this like we just went from Facebook app to the YouTube app. We are in a completely different spot now. But this is what you'll get used to. This is what you're going to see a lot. And if you wanted to get here directly, you didn't actually have to go to the Bluehost dashboard first. You could have gone to WordPress in 20 minutes /WP admin. And this is true for all websites or all WordPress sites. You just have to type the domain name that they're hosted at and then /WP admin. So you press enter and you're going to see a login. Mine's already pre-filled with the username, but if you don't know what your username and password is, you can actually go back to the Bluehost dashboard to figure that out, and I'll show you exactly how. And before we get too far, if you were to type in that same address and you don't get this page right here, you just get a stock Bluehost page, that is simply because the DNS records, or the domain name system records, have not propagated yet. And so that's something to understand when you're working with websites and hosting, is that the domain name system is not necessarily fast. You've got a bunch of DNS servers across the world who have to learn of this new registered domain that you have just registered. So just give it an hour or so, maybe a couple hours, and you should be able to visit this in due time. Anyways, let's say that you forgot your username and password. So let's go back to the Bluehost portal and go to My Sites. Then you'll click Manage Your Site. You'll go to Users, and then when the users load, you'll be able to actually see the valid users that are part of this WordPress site. And you can click these three dots here and click Reset Password. So what this is going to do is take you directly to the user management part of your admin dashboard. You could have gotten here on your own, but it takes you directly there. And then all you're going to do is say generate password. You're going to copy this so that you don't forget it, and hit update profile. And make sure that you note what your username or email is associated with that user so that you can log in. So we'll log out here just to make sure that this works. And again, you can type in WordPress or whatever your domain is /WP admin to get to the same spot. We're going to put in my username and then copy in that password. I'm going to change it after this video so I know everyone saw it here. But we'll log in. This should log us in correctly. And now we are able to manage our new WordPress site. So there's a lot here. I know it's not exactly easy to get dropped into the WordPress dashboard and know exactly what's going on. But I'm going to try to point out a few of the places that you're going to find yourself most often. We're going to install a couple plugins that I think are important to have on any WordPress site. And then I'm going to show you basically how you can get a custom theme other than the one that we have. And if we have some time, we can make a post and kind of see the live site. Since we've only got a couple minutes left, let's see what this site actually looks like. Let's get rid of these messages here. And it says your site is currently displaying a coming soon page. So if I typed in WordPress in 20 minutes and just went to the actual site, you'll see that there's a coming soon page. So let's launch it. Just come down here, click launch your site. And we are now live. So if we go back here and refresh, we're going to see that we have our website, which does not have a lot on it right now. And we're not going to be able to build this out completely, but that's not the point of this tutorial. Building out a theme, a WordPress theme, is an entire different video that could take hours and hours. I will say that as you're looking for themes, I've gone through 8 or 9 of them myself, and the one that I've landed on is Avada. And I'll link to that in the description if you want to pick that up. I think it's about $60 for a single license, but it is well worth it. I use it on my main site, the DIY Golfer, and this is what it looks like. This is basically the potential of what you can create with an Avada theme. So just put that plug in there. I really like this theme. I don't think that you can go wrong with the Avada theme. So again, that's a whole nother topic. Let's get into the main pieces of WordPress that you're going to be hanging out with most. And I can make some additional tutorials in the future to dive into each of them. So you'll spend a lot of time in the plugins right here. This is how you're going to extend the functionality of WordPress. So a couple plugins that I would suggest installing right away would be W3 Total Cache and Updraft Plus. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. W3 Total Cache is going to make your site faster, period. And you can also set up a CDN, which is a content delivery network. So if I would go to my site, this is my main site, where all the pictures, if I open them in a new tab, you'll see that it is hosted at media.thediygolfer.com. And this is actually an Amazon or AWS service that we set up through W3 Total Cache. And that makes the loading of your site a lot faster. Then if we go to Updraft Plus, we go to Settings, we can set up backups, automatic backups for our website. So all you have to do is go into the settings here. And if you wanted to set this up with Google Drive, you can do that pretty easily. Once you're in settings, I recommend setting both of these to either daily or weekly with a maximum of 2 scheduled backups at a time. Click Google Drive or whatever you're going to back it up with. Go down and click Save Changes. You're going to get this pop-up. Go ahead and click this and authenticate with your Google Drive. And after you register this, your site, your WordPress site's can actually be backed up to your Google Drive at the frequency that you set. And this is a great way, especially when you're starting, to get free backups because Google Drive gives you 15 gigabytes of data storage. And this is an alternative to what Bluehost offers for you with the CodeGuard basic backups. There are obviously a ton of other things that I could show you here, but you're going to spend a lot of time in the post and pages. So let's say that we go to pages. You'll see that there's an About Me page. That's because we clicked that option in the orientation or the onboarding process. And you see it's already pre-filled with a little bit of a theme. So let's go ahead and click Publish on that. Now you can go view the page. And you can see that this is our website right here. It's got this funky domain right here, but you can also visit it at the actual URL, and that'll get updated in due time. So if you go to WordPress in 20 minutes, click About Me, and you have a website. So there are obviously a ton of other things that I could show you with WordPress, and I only scratched the very, very surface with those plugins that I recommended and the Avada theme that I recommended. But what's exciting about this is the fact that you have a WordPress website up in about 20 minutes. And that's pretty exciting because you could not do that even just a couple years ago. There is a lot bigger barrier to creating websites, and so hopefully this gives you kind of the confidence that you can build this website. In the future, I may make some tutorials, so feel free to comment below anything that you'd like to see. Hope you learned something in this video. If you did, like and subscribe to my channel. And until next time, I'll see you later.